Alrighty, hello and welcome everybody to tonight's fantastic dino action featuring this very scary dinosaur, Ancient Imperiosaur. I'm quite excited for the potential explosive early plays that I think we're going to see at least a few times tonight. Quite a few changes actually from last night's list. There is no Gwenna, Eyes of Gaia, to help tap for 2 mana of any color or any combination of colors to pay for a creature. Then she untaps if you, or whenever you do cast a creature with power 5 or greater. Pterosaurus, how's it going? Yes, a good night, and I will have fun. Dr. Gazooks. This is going to be a terror of a list, I think. I mean, Carnage Trant, Tyrannosaurus Rex, and this, a playset of every single one. Now, that might seem like overkill, potentially, but consider Ancient Imperiosaur. This is the main line I hope we see tonight, at least once. I have 3 lands. I've got 1 Marauding and 1 Huntmaster. At the moment, before I do anything, Ancient Imperiosaur is reduced to 5. Love it. Then I can tap Marauding and Huntmaster to reduce Ancient Imperiosaur to 3. With the 3 lands that I have out, boom. It comes down as a 10-10. That's quite fantastic. That specific scenario, 3 lands, Marauding, and Huntmaster. You couldn't play Carnage Trant, you couldn't play Tyrannosaurus Rex. Those, of course, are nice big bodies, but instead, you get this thing. You can't attack with it that turn because Huntmaster was also used to tap for the convoke. But I still think that's quite decent. Gets the job done, I would imagine. A 10-10, of course, is nothing like the 2020 potential of some lists that are focused on tokens, having enough that it convokes and makes the Ancient Imperiosaur a 2020 and 18-18. It certainly is very scary stuff, but still a 10-10 with 3 lands and Marauding and Huntmaster is quite decent. Of course, it could be bigger than a 10-10. There's a good chance we'll have a nice mixture of bodies. Regis or Alpha, of course, we can tap that to make the Imperiosaur bigger. Then, of course, if Regis or Alpha is tapped, as we've seen before, Ancient Imperiosaur still gets that haste, just because it is a static effect. And going back to last night, Verdant Sun's avatar gaining life whenever a creature enters the battlefield equal to its toughness. I want to continue with that. Oh yes, absolutely. Fighting whatever it is before you get to 7 lands. That is a very good point, definitely. Sometimes Topiary Stomper is reduced to 2 green with that cost reduction, so it's like another Rampant Growth, another Thunderherd Migration. And then we just use it to make Imperiosaur bigger and cast it sooner. We could have Huntmaster, Marauding, and Topiary Stomper. Probably in that scenario, I would just tap Topiary and Marauding to further reduce Imperiosaur, and then use Huntmaster to actually give it haste if it makes sense to do so. Or I could just have this thing come down big and massive. Hopefully, oftentimes it will enter at least as big as Galta, 12-12. Of course, it does have Ward too, so it is a little bit safer from removal. If I do face hard control, something with lots of counter spells, I'll likely be trimming Ancient Imperiosaur, switch it out for Tyvar's Stand here, because, well, it can get countered. I might trim 1 Galta and 3 Ancient Imperiosaurs, just to make room for these 4 Tyvar Stands. That's going to be lovely stuff. But also, hopefully, Shadow Spear shows up a little bit. I do have 2 copies because I think it can be so fantastic. Give lifelink to Marauding Raptor, so each time Marauding pings a creature, any creature, you gain 2 life. Oh, whoops. Hit the mic. Something in my eye, a dust, a fluff. But yeah, it's always lovely stuff. So I just wanted to see that effect a little bit more, and it can be so impactful to stabilize, similar to how Verdant Sun's avatar was gaining life. I love it. Make something bigger, of course. Give Marauding Raptor Trample is always very nice. It can be sitting at a 6-3, an 8-3, potentially if you've played a bunch of dinos. then of course it gets chump blocked by something weak, sadly. So we'll gain a bunch of life from Marauding Raptor's pings, then Marauding Raptor will attack, and we'll gain a bunch more life, and the opponent might not be able to keep up with all that lovely life gain. Otherwise, the plan is simple. Hopefully play Ancient Imperiosaur a little bit earlier, maybe the turn before I play Carnage Tyrant. That's going to be quite fantastic. Again, continuing with last night, Magmatic Chasm. This is going to be the main way to win against decks with lots of creatures on the ground. Mono Green Devotion, hopefully I get to showcase Magmatic Chasm in that matchup there. Make a bunch of big bodies, which I think this is going to be quite lovely indeed. Ancient Imperiosaur, perhaps, if I'm not worried about them killing us the following turn. I tap everything I possibly can. Make the Ancient Imperiosaur as big as possible. And then boom, everything untaps. We've got this massive body, Magmatic Chasm. And of course, Ancient Imperiosaur being so big, sitting there could deter aggression until it comes back around to us, and then a lethal swing. Maybe this is a 12-12. I've got Regisaur Alpha, Marauding Raptor. There's a good chance I could play a Dino and still have enough to pay 2 to make all of Mono Green Devotion's creatures not be able to block, and everything just zooms right past it. That's going to be very nice indeed. I want to keep trying it. Put it through its paces. I haven't faced anything with tons of big and scary creatures, but it could be useful against more aggro stuff. Although speaking of aggro, Karn Silex is making a reappearance. I might up this to 3 just as the catch-all against anything pretty cheap. Artifacts, enchantments, artifact enchantment creatures, mono-white humans. We can't use Brave the Elements to protect against something that is colorless and wants to destroy each non-land permanent with a mana value of X. We can only activate it as a sorcery, but hey, I like how this will bring the pain to everything, and maybe, of course, I do lose some of my creatures, Topiary Stomper, of course, and all these little guys, but perhaps by the time I pop Karn Silex, I already have some big stuff at the very least, Shifting Ceratops that won't get destroyed when I pay 3 for X, and the other big stuff. So it could clear the entire fields. Maybe I even name 4 because I'm sitting on Ancient Imperiosaur, Carnage Tyrant, some mixture of that. They have nothing to block. Their field is completely wide open, and then boom, we hit them. And that's probably game over there. Maybe not that specific hit, but if they have nothing left on the battlefield, it probably is. Back to nature. Well, 2 copies of this. I do love 3 for 5-color Fires of Invention, Enigmatic Incarnation. I just wanted to try Magmatic Chasm a little bit more tonight. Tranquil Throwback as well. I do expect we'll face Gruul Vehicles, although I still haven't yet. It placed pretty high this previous weekend, as I mentioned yesterday, and I'm worried about the Akroan War, stealing something big, so I want to be able to take it out. Exile graveyards, of course. Greasefang was pretty rough last night, as it usually is. They got their turn 3 Greasefang, cheating out Parhelion, and there's not a whole lot you can do against that, unless you have instant speed Graveyard Exile, which, of course, Tranquil Throwback is not. Okay, I say we jump into it, bring the pain to a bunch of stuff, and scare some opponents with this explosive, nasty damage. Oh yeah, I forgot, I deleted the deck. I do run out of room, and even though having 100 spots, mostly all dinos. Right one? Well, okay, we're off to the races. Get her done. Who's the first unfortunate soul? It would be nice to start off with Azorius, I must say. Hopefully at least once tonight. Dimir Control. Dimir Rogues can be pretty painful, though, I must say. Lots of flying, lots of death touch. Hard to have creatures stick around, and lots of spells that make us sacrifice some of the bigger, scarier dinos. However, I could potentially keep this. We're facing off against 5-color Fires of Invention, Enigmatic Incarnation, I would expect. That's going to be difficult. One mulligan. Oh, much better there. Bunch of lands, Topiary Stomper, getting us to 5 lands, including a Castle Garenbrig. So we get to make that 6 green for Carnage. Topiary Stomper getting us a turn ahead with the land, and then Castle Garenbrig. Oh, excuse me. Tapping for 6. So if all goes well and all goes right, Carnage Tyrant on turn 4 with 5 lands. Ancient Imperiosaur, yeah. I'll send that to the bottom. Of course, Leyline Binding could be coming down for dirt cheap. And there's a good chance they'll have at least an extra 2 mana to pay the Ward 2 cost. That's not a giant hoop to jump through. And it's pretty cool. I got Tyrannix Rex as well. Certainly Ward 4 is a lot better, but Ward 2 in a lot of cases might just buy enough time. Now hopefully this is enchantments, and okay, good. They don't have a counter spell. I was getting a little bit worried when I saw Spara's headquarters and the breeding pool. Perhaps this would be some sort of Bant shenanigans. Of course, Carnage Tyrant, I mean, they're stumbling here. They haven't played lands. Done. That's how it goes. So we took them down, not in the best way, but I'm glad I mulliganed. Castle Garenbrig, Topiary Stomper, again, 2 turns ahead for Carnage Tyrant in a very stable way. Topiary Stomper, perhaps they're not too scared about it, so they let it happen. Oh, it's just a basic land. I'm not going to use my counterspell. If, of course, they had counterspells on them, but it is enchantments. But they let it, let's just get this creature. They can't attack and block. I'm not worried. I'll give them basic land. And then boom, we drop Castle Garenbrig, and all of a sudden, they stare down this, and there's nothing they can do at that point. A basic land is all but indestructible. Castle Garenbrig can't counter it. Lovely stuff. But we need Back to Nature, and we need Tranquil Frill back. Absolutely. Possibly Tyvar's Stand to protect against Leyline Binding. Now, again, since I mentioned it, we'll trim Ancient Imperiosaur. They'll definitely be able to target that quite easily. Possibly Galta. Nah, I'll trim Galta. I do like Shadow Spear, though, I must say. One Shadow Spear. It's going to be pretty painful. Hopefully seeing a Back to Nature, but at the very least, well-timed Tranquil Frill back to destroy 1 key enchantment might be all we need. This hand certainly looks doable. Of course, it's no Tranquil Frill back or Back to Nature, but I hope Huntmaster survives. I do think we'll be staring down a Leyline Binding, potentially. Okay, no Leyline Binding yet. They don't have a source of white untapped. They don't have all 5 types of lands, fortunately. Should be a good chance that Huntmaster sticks around, hopefully shifting Ceratops, but they may hold off on that Leyline Binding, using it on Huntmaster. Well, you know what's in there. Okay, well, just Huntmaster again, and hopefully they don't have a second one. And I get to go Regis or Alpha, or again, they save that Leyline Binding. Fires of Invention. Enigmatic King. Oh, good stuff, good stuff. Well, not super good, but just shifting Ceratops. Omnath can't block shifting, which is quite nice indeed. Definitely don't attack with Huntmaster. I almost did that. My goodness. Another shifting next turn. I wouldn't have expected Omnath to block Regis or Alpha, but I couldn't have attacked with the Dinosaur token, a 3/3. Omnath certainly would have blocked that. If I thought maybe they'd block Regis or Alpha with Omnath, I probably would have done it. Elishnorn, though, that is going to be painful. Hopefully I see some big scary dino here. Of course, Back to Nature would have brought them to their knees. Getting that Leyline Binding, the Huntmaster back, the Fires of Invention, just slowing them down enough. They only would have played Elish Norn that turn, not Keruga, and drawing all those cards. I would hope to see Carnage or Tyrannosaurus Rex. You would think. Leyline Binding on Shifting Ceratops, perhaps. Oh, they have to discard. I didn't even realize. Look how many cards they have in their hand. 11. Oh my goodness, they discarded 4. Getting a little bit flooded here, but no. Play Shifting Ceratops. All is not lost yet. Elish Norn would trade with 1 shifting. We'll hold them back. We'll see what happens. At least they don't have another Leyline Binding. They would have used 1 on one of the Shifting Ceratopses, I think. There it is. Hopefully they don't have 2. That would be too bad. Leyline Binding can be cast for... Oh, they got both. That's not nice. We're probably dead. Yeah. Yeah, sometimes you still just get flooded, even with 22 lands. That's okay. I may just mulligan a little bit more aggressively for that back to nature or the Frillback. Even just taking out Fires of Invention probably would have bought us some time. Intense music. Backs against the wall. Ugh. I mean, it's kind of neat to see Shadow Spear, our only copy. Do I like Huntmaster and a hasty shifting? Perhaps not. 1 mulligan. Oh, wow. Okay, that's pretty cool. I definitely would not have expected 3 of them. I can get behind that. Exciting stuff. Okay. Let's get them. And we got that. Oh, that was close. We got that 3rd land. I almost played the forest instead of Karplusan Forest. Need that for a source of red for Huntmaster and hope it does not live. Okay. So we got to wait at least a turn so we have an extra mana for Tranquil Frillback. Hopefully. Might take out Fable of the Mirror Breaker. Oh, phew. Nah, probably Leyline Binding. Let's do it. I imagine maybe they would have played Fires of Invention, Enigmatic Incarnation, using Enigmatic Incarnation to sacrifice Leyline Binding and searching their library for a creature with a mana value of 7. 1 more than Leyline Binding's mana value of 6. Oh boy. At the very least, I do get Tranquil Frillback next turn. Would be nice to go both of them. Oh, another one. Interesting. Huh. Back to nature, of course, would be pretty stunning. That Tranquil Frillback re-entering, if I destroy it with another Tranquil Frillback, would mean I can use the first Tranquil Frillback's ability. But I can't do that right now. We're just going to try and get rid of it. Get back that Huntmaster. Either way, they still would have had a Leyline Binding for Enigmatic Incarnation, and I want to reduce dinos. All dinos by 1. I wouldn't have been able to pay that extra green if I had taken out... nuts. Okay, we can do... Fires of Invention. It's got to be Fires of Invention. Oh, yeah. Forgot about that point. Elish Norn turning off the enter the battlefield effect. I should not have forgot about that. Either way, it's probably over at this point since we haven't seen it back to nature. You can see how much I value it. I love having 3 copies just to see it a touch more. And back to nature would have done the trick. I still might be able to get something done if we can see it coming up here. Well, we're not quite dead, but we're almost dead. Question becomes, could I take out Kenrith? They can only put 1 counter on it, getting them to 6. I would have to double block to stop that. Let's stop that. Force him to put the counter on it. Get him to 6 so he takes out both frill backs there. Okay, what's it going to be? Another land, hopefully. Oh yes, we got to wait for them to discard cards. I always forget about that. Back to nature. Ooh, that's not back to nature. I imagine that's probably going to be it. Only playing Topiary Stomper or Shifting Ceratops. Sadly. Now, we're not busting through that Elish Norn. Topiary Stomper, of course, is turned off. It's literally just a 2 for a 4/4 that can't attack or block because we don't get the basic land because of Elish Norn. Well, excuse me. Just didn't see the right stuff at the right time, unfortunately. That's how she goes. Right. Shadow Spear on Carnage Tyrant, or one of the big scary dinos. I want to see gaining a big amount of life in a single hit. Sajori 94. Ooh. Nah, a little bit too risky, I think. Much, much better. Definitely. Certainly send Tyrannix Rex to the bottom, of course, with 12. Big scary... we got the first mono green of the night, potentially. Gruul Vehicles. Okay, okay. Going to be staring down that Crowan War, I would imagine. We'll get Marauding Raptor down. Shifting Ceratops got the lands I need to keep hitting them for the first few turns. That's going to be nice. Burning Tree Emissary? Oh, what's it going to be? Obliterating Bolt. Uh-oh. Pre-recorded. Yeah. Nothing much you can do about that. Alrighty. Thunderherd Migration, I'm just going to pay 1. Pretend like I don't have much of anything. We'll get Regis or Alpha down next turn and hopefully not draw too many more lands here. Although a 4/4 and a 3/3 seems pretty nice. Yeah. They get rid of Stomping Ground. I'll grab the only mountain that I have and still be pretty nice with the sources of red due to the other Stomping Grounds that I've got. Yeah, I can work with that. Possibly Ancient Imperiosaur next turn would be pretty darn fantastic. A Crowan War. I guess not. Well, well, well. Excuse me. This is going to be quite lovely indeed. Huntmaster, boom. Reduces Ancient Imperiosaur by 6. Look at that. A lovely 12/12. Hard to deal with, I hope. Now, can they kill us next turn if I didn't attack with it? 8 with the Reckoner Bankbusters. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. I think we'll be safe. Hopefully. They could have some nice hasty stuff, and that gets the job done, unfortunately, but we'll see. Eska's Chariot. That's pretty good. Doesn't quite get the job done. We just play a nice hasty Tyrannix Rex. Boom. Smack him. Oh. That's how you do it. You obliterate my creatures. I obliterate your life total. With a lovely 12/12 Ancient Imperiosaur. Certainly was a little bit scary being at 11. But they had to use some other creatures to crew Reckoner Bankbuster at the very least. That would have been... well, currently would have only been hit by 1 Reckoner Bankbuster. It has a crew cost of 3, so Burning Tree Emissary and the Llanowar Elves both would have had to tap. So we were definitely safe. And explosive. We see the Ancient Imperiosaur working in fantastic fashion. But then you just knock it out of the park. However, Tranquil Frillback, I'm thinking. That's where I want to be. Take out the Acroan War, which is all but guaranteed if they didn't start out with it. If they had it in the sideboard, they're certainly bringing it in. But I think for the most part right now, Gruul Vehicles often starts with the Acroan War to steal stuff. Do I like Shadow Spear with life gain? Yeah, I do. Quite a bit. But we got to mix in Frillback somewhere, somehow. I think Ancient Imperiosaur, we got to trim that guy. At least. Right. I was thinking of maybe trimming Shifting Ceratops, switching it out for Tyvar's Stand to protect against their damage base removal, the stealing of creatures, but Tranquil Frillback just to get rid of the Acroan War I think is going to be good enough. And it's definitely nice seeing Thunderherd Migration. 2 of them, actually. If they stole Topiary Stomper with the Acroan War, they couldn't do a whole lot with it because they're all but certain to not be at 7 lands at that point. No, we're not quite dead yet. I won't reveal Tranquil Frillback, hopefully getting a 4th land next turn if they have some sort of artifact stuff going on. Just try and ramp as much as possible. Oh, the Reckless Stormseeker. Oh, Joey, how's it going? Hopefully all is well. Had a very fantastic game 1 against Gruul Vehicles, and then, well, you just die. You just die. Not a whole lot you can do in those situations. Yeah, keep it like that. Okay, let's see that early Shadow Spear. Get some life links, stabilize a little bit, stomp them the best we can, and certainly nice to keep that hand. Oh, nothing big, but of course there is likely some big dino waiting underneath here. Coming up soon. Hopefully soon after I use Thunderherd Migration here. Fortunately, it's not a turn 1 elf. I imagine they would have removal for whatever I did play. Of course, it would be Huntmaster. This way, with the lands I have, I can still go Huntmaster, Marauding next turn. Possibly Huntmaster if I was feeling pretty good about that. I might do that. You know what? Let's do that. Huntmaster, Huntmaster. Use up all available mana for the turn. Of course, they are expecting Marauding and hoping to use removal on Marauding. We're going to protect them from doing such a thing. Draw out a Stomp from Bone Crusher Giant, perhaps. Or just that Obliterating Bolt. Rampaging Ferocidon. A Dino. Well, well, well. We'll go with Marauding Raptor to start. We'll take 2 damage here, but that's okay. We get a bunch of lands. We're going to be at 7 next turn, and that is definitely quite fantastic. Give the good old Marauding haste, possibly trade with Rampaging Raptor, which I would certainly be happy to do so. I have enough reduction and lands at this point. That's okay by me. We can play anything at this point. So hopefully we see Tyrannix Rex. That would be lovely. A very good chance of seeing it. I mean, we do have 4 copies and we're getting pretty close to a quarter of the way through. Or Carnage Tyrant. Any of that stuff. Shadow Spear would be pretty nice. Attacking with Topiary Stomper, gaining a bunch of life. Well, I'll just attack with both Topiary Stompers. Yes, please. Don't imagine they'll crew Esika's Chariot just to trade with one of them. That is nice stuff. I don't expect both cats is going to block one of them, perhaps. Interesting. I'm definitely happy to take it out. Alright, big dino from the top. Yes, Joey. Cross your fingers. Let's go. Cross your fingers. Cross your claws. There is such an incredible chance to see just about anything. I'd almost be happy with Shadow Spear, slapping it on a Huntmaster. Although we can't gain life because of Rampaging Ferocidon, but... Oh, we got the Carney T. Whoopee. We take some damage, that's okay. Get that maximum aggression. Force them to potentially block with every single creature that they have. Do it. Good. We've got a bunch more stuff ready and waiting. Perhaps it's going to be another Carnage Tyrant. That'd be alright. Keep their board clear. As clear as possible. Doesn't really do a whole lot. It thins out our deck, so this is fantastic to increase the chance. Even just oh, never mind. I forgot I can choose something that isn't a basic. Even better. Huh. I'm fine taking 3. Not taking 3. Okay, wow, they're going to have a hard time with a Regis or Alpha. Maximum aggression. Ah, interesting. I don't mind losing a Huntmaster if it means I get a little bit more damage through with Regisaur and that token there. I just have to hope there's no Crow anymore. They're almost dead. They can't really attack. Oof. Thunderherd Migration, unfortunately. That's okay. Do have to worry about Lair of the Hydra. It can become a 4/4, which would trade with Regisaur Alpha. Can't become a 5/5. They have to pay 1. Yeah. We'll see if we draw out that Lair of the Hydra. Actually, you know what? I'm just going to hold off. We'll see if they tap out, play something this turn, and then I don't have to worry about Lair of the Hydra coming up. Canker Bloom. Interesting. Carney T certainly did it. We're almost a third of the way through the deck. We've only seen 1 Carnage Tyrant, no Tyrannix Rexes. Interesting. Oh, they're going to attack us with the Canker Bloom. I'd be alright blocking it. Let's take it out. Take a little bit of damage, but hey, we don't have to worry about that from now on. Oh, we got a lovely, lovely Shifting Ceratops. That's where it's at. I imagine the Storm Charge Slasher would block probably Well, not Huntmaster. Yeah. All out. Lair of the Hydra can only become a 2/2. They could block Huntmaster, which would be alright. But the Storm Charge Slasher still has to block... Oh, somebody. Well, I'll take out that. Yes, please. Still feel pretty safe with just the Lair of the Hydra. And I think we might get him next turn. We could draw another Regisaur, shifting, the first Tyrannix Rex, another Carnage Tyrant, a Shadow Spear to slap on shifting, gain a bunch of life, make it big, and they'll be dead. Shifty T, yes, yes. There's so many things. Such a great possibility. Oh boy. Make Lair of the Hydra a creature, hit us for 4, and be dead next turn. Both Burning Tree Emissaries have to block shifting. Let's do it. Good old trample and... Oh boy. 1. Oof. Down to 1. Shifting, Regisaur Alpha, Tyrannix Rex, Carnage, Tive, Rent. Oh boy. There we go, folks. That might just lock her up. Let's see that Shadow Spear. Shadow Spear. Oh, and Regisaur Alpha. Get the bodies. Get the bodies. Will that do the trick? Good game. Oh, fantastic. Whew. You got to think. With 22 lands, we've seen, or we were seeing 3, 6, 9, 10. Oh, yes, very nice, Punk Monk. Woohoo. Certainly is right, Joey. Yeah, half the lands. Yes, yes. Man, that does the trick. Yeah, just, stay positive. Sometimes I do get flooded like this, but the chance, you're going to get a bomb. Basically, anything I draw is going to do the trick, which is pretty fantastic. Okay. That's a good way to get the job done. Unfortunately, not getting it done against 5-color fires, but taking down one of the top decks of the format. I certainly think it was pretty nice chipping away with Huntmaster, knowing that they were probably going to block something else, deal as much damage as possible, seal it up, boom. Maybe being at 1, I had enough with trample damage, potentially whatever I would draw, and that would finish them off. However, we get to finally see the turn 1 Shadow Spear, turn 2 Marauding, slap Shadow Spear on Marauding, and well, we'll see how almost didn't pay 2 life. Could have played Forest there, but our second outing against another 5-color fires. And I might start bringing in probably 3 Back to Natures, maybe more, because it certainly is a popular deck, and it did well this past weekend. And of course, Back to Nature is the bane of everything this deck does. You know what? I'd rather go with Topiary Stomper instead. I was thinking of attaching Shadow Spear to Marauding, but I felt like they might do something that could interrupt us. Hopefully they don't interrupt Topiary Stomper. Maybe they do have a counter spell. Perhaps this is not enchantments. Eventually, something will happen. Certainly seems like they want to do something to somebody. Test the waters, attack with Marauding, see if it draws out... Oh, what? Nothing. Okay. Flash in an enchantment, perhaps. 2 Sun Petal Groves. I think that's going to be pretty painful for them. It doesn't have a land typing, which is very nice. It's not reducing Leyline Binding. Currently, Leyline Binding is reduced to 4 with the Forest Island of Breeding Pool. Oh, we're getting close to lots of other good stuff. Of course, it's got to be Regis or Alpha. Gets more damage. Hopefully Carnage next turn, or at the very least, Shadow Spear to slap on somebody. Do a bit more damage, gain a little bit of life. Oh boy, they got that Leyline Binding coming up for 1 white. Oh, I've never played against this deck before. Woo! Hopefully not another one. Okay, good. Not another one. Yeah. Good old shifting. If they had another Leyline Binding, I imagine they would have used it on the token. If they exile a token, it just disappears. You never actually get it back, which is sometimes kind of painful. They have to have something pretty impactful. Some sort of sweeper. Deal with some of these bodies. Supreme Verdict is supremely good. Another Shadow Spear, not so much. Yeah. Bound to happen, potentially. Always a chance with 2 copies, but I still think it is so lovely. A slight risk that you run. I think they want to sacrifice some enchantment to Enigmatic Incarnation. Right, as I said it. I think they'll definitely do Leyline Binding, grabbing maybe an Agent of Treachery. Ah. A creature for 4. Probably something that deals with Marauding Raptor. They better. Otherwise, it would get Carnage Tyrant. That might not be what they want. It's not Elesh Norn. She has a mana value of 5. Your guess is as good as mine. A nice toolbox a deck like this. You could add any sort of painful mixture of stuff. Shieldred, the Apocalypse certainly is painful. But hopefully Carnage Tyrant is also going to be painful. Of course, Enigmatic Incarnation to sacrifice that Leyline Binding. They may not want to do that though, giving us back Regis or Alpha. So perhaps if they don't play another enchantment, we might be safe from an Enigmatic Incarnation sacrifice at the end of their turn. Regis or Alpha certainly is pretty impactful. Maybe they have Supreme Verdict. Something else big. Carnage Tyrant gaining a bunch of life next turn. Hopefully, if I can slap Shadow Spear on it. Should buy us some time. Temporary lockdown? Well, I do have a second one in hand, so that is good. Castle Garenbrig would mean Tyrannix Rex. Quite lovely. But certainly Shadow Spear on Carnage is a fantastic backup. Okie dokie. One of them has to block. They will die. Of course, it would be Shieldred, so well, maybe that's going to do well for us. I hope. Gaining 8 life is quite fantastic. Taking out Elesh Norn. Oh. But it is interesting. They wanted to preserve Shieldred. They're going to play Keruga next turn. And they're going to draw 1, 2, 3, 4. At least 4 cards. Gaining them 8 life. That's also nice. They may play one thing. pay the 3 for Keruga to get it into hand, then play Keruga. But they do have to have 5 lands. Currently, they're only sitting at 4, so perhaps we're safe for a little bit longer. I may just start off with Tranquil Throwback at this point. Just in case I do face this again. If I face it for a 3rd time, I think I'll rework things a little bit. Still want to keep in Shadow Spear though, but perhaps move Ancient Imperiosaur to the side, bring Tranquil Throwback in. I start off with some lovely catch-all of Artifact or Enchantment Destruction, Graveyard, Exile, a little bit of life gain. Agent of Treachery or Titan of Industry, perhaps. That's my bet. Or a Tally. Primal Conqueror. Okay, yeah, it's not so bad. I certainly would like Tyrannosaurus Rex. I only have 5 at the moment. That would have been lovely. Well, just another Regisaur Alpha. I get lots of lovely aggression. Of course, I would imagine that Shieldred would block Carnage Taunt. Regisaur Alpha plus the Goblin token is not enough. So it might just be Agent of Treachery. Shieldred would block 1 Dino token. You know what? Let's do that. I think a token might get through. Of course, the token would trade with the Goblin token they have and the Agent of Treachery. Neither of those can kill it. So they're caught between a rock and a hard place. Double block with something big to take out Carnage Taunt. Take a bit of damage from the tokens. That is a lot of trample damage combined. They have to do something. But we just keep gaining a bunch of life turn after turn. We don't really care about Shieldred making us lose 2 life whenever we draw our card for the turn. Carnage Tyrant is going to keep us nice and healthy. 14 trample damage. They at least have to block with 6 toughness to save themselves. Okay. All 3. Very, very interesting indeed. Can't take out everything, sadly. I will take out Agent of Treachery and Regisaur Alpha, though. I think that's our best bet. If only we had Back to Nature. At the very least, Shadow Spear is certainly buying us time. Tyrannosaurus Rex next turn, but at the very least, Regisaur Alpha. We could slap Shadow Spear on that. Oh, they're attacking. That certainly is quite interesting. I'm going to try to take out that Goblin token. Perhaps they do have a sweeper. They'll play Keruga. Oh, they'll play Temporary Lockdown in Keruga. Draw a bunch of cards. Oh, I guess not. Huh. Odd. Tyrannosaurus Rex, where you at, buddy? Oh, not there, unfortunately. However, Ancient Imperiosaur entering as an 8/8. Heliod does have to block. Let's do it. Boom. Hasty. Love it. Man, that is pretty darn sweet. Down to 3. Scary stuff. Man, it's taken forever though, I must say. Hopefully no Leyline Binding, which could easily exile Ancient Imperiosaur. They don't have a whole lot of mana left after playing that Fires of Invention, and there's the tons of card draw, tons of life gain. 10, sadly. Though I still think they won't attack with Shieldred. 15 is pretty decent though. A nice Tyrannosaurus Rex would get the job done. Fortunately, they can't play anything at the moment. They played 2 spells, Fires of Invention and Keruga there. They can only channel something, discard it to have some temporary effect. Interesting. Land, you can do it. Trinix Rex, let's go. Well, they are going to get something big and painful. They don't want to sacrifice either temporary lock. Oh, wow. Shifting Ceratops maybe is going to do the trick. I think it will. Keruga blocking Regis for Alpha, they'd be dead. I think we have just done it, folks. That is going to be lethal. If they don't have something with channel that they can discard, of course, but pretty fantastic. Oh, Carney T off the top for the win. Land off the top, Carnage off the top. Oh my goodness. Wow. Hey. You can see, I'm liking this mixture. Oftentimes, often nights, even with 4 Carnage turns and 4 Trinix Rexes, you would think 8 is enough to consistently see that stuff. But if Ancient Imperiosaur was anything else, it could have been Gwenna. Ancient Imperiosaur could have been the 23rd and 24th land, plus maybe 2 Tranquil Frillbacks. But you saw how lovely that was. Entering Regis Ralph, I didn't want to attack with it anyways, so we just get to make a lovely 8/8 trample, haste, ward 2, threatening that Heliod, getting us there. Whew. I did not expect to win that. Certainly Shadow Spear, gaining enough life, keep us nice and safe. I still want to keep both just because, well, they do have that painful temporary lockdown. However, I'm going to trim one. I got to start making space for Back to Nature and Tranquil Frillback. Although, like I've mentioned before, exiling graveyards, sometimes if I face Greasefang, maybe that'll do the trick, but Greasefang fills their graveyard at all kinds of different times. At the end of our turn, on their turn, at instant speed. So we really don't have too many good moments to exile it. They can work around that and put a big vehicle in. So if I don't really care much about the exile, not too much about the single target artifact enchantment destruction, maybe I can just trim this a little bit, bring in some more copies of Back to Nature, and we'll be back in action. Actually, you know what? I'm going to leave Tranquil Frillback out. And Galta. Yeah, I definitely think Back to Nature would do the trick. 2 to pretty much automatically win against this deck. It's pretty fantastic. Whew. Yes. I mean, it's no Back to Nature or Tranquil Frillback, but I do like this mixture of stuff. Again, I'm seeing the only copy of Shadow Spear. I did cut one, so it's always nice to... Oop, almost spilled my drink. Always nice to have a turn 1 play since for quite some time I haven't had a lot of stuff for 1. Got that Leyline Binding coming down. It is reduced fully to 1. They have all the types with Savide, Triumph, and Breeding Pool. Now perhaps they're a little bit more scared of Shadow Spear, so Leyline Binding is going to deal with it. Or they just deal with Huntmaster to stop our aggression and explosiveness. Hopefully another land. Hopefully it's a source of red. I can go Marauding. 1 for 2, 1 for 1. See that Back to Nature. Oof, it's not Back to Nature, but as I was saying, I think this is going to be lovely stuff. I'll get down both. They don't have 2 sources of white, although they might get it with the treasure if and when that goblin attacks next turn. Or they just get it normally from playing a land. We'll see. But if it is temporary lockdown, that deals with, I think, all non-land permanents, a mana value of 2 or less. It might be 3 or less. I'm pretty sure it's 2 or less. But if it was 3 or less, they would exile their own Fable of the Mirror Breaker, permanently get rid of their Goblin token. I'm pretty sure it exiles everybody's. Maybe it does exile only ours. We're about to find out, I think. Make that second source of white. Supreme Verdict? Okay, okay. And we got Huntmaster at least. Hopefully hasty shifting next turn, or potentially Dinosaur Alpha, of course. Or back to nature. Definitely want to get rid of that reflection. Hopefully no enigmatic incarnation. Phew. I was getting worried. That to sacrifice Leyline Binding, grabbing Agent of Treachery, starting to steal our stuff. It's probably better just to go shifting Ceratops. Dinosaur Alpha. Unfortunately, Elesh Norn turns off its enter the battlefield effect of making that dinosaur token. Possibly slap Shadow Spear on shifting. We could play Tyrannix Rex next turn if I draw Castle Garenbreak. Ooh. That'd be some scary aggression. Looks like they're setting up for Keruga next turn. Or they have another Leyline Binding for shifting. They're looking at it pretty heavily. Don't have enough to take her out, sadly. Taking 4 damage, not too bad. Maybe responding if I try to slap Shadow Spear on shifting and then doing the Leyline Binding at that point. We want to go with Topiary Stomper. Topiary for 2, Shadow Spear on shifting. Let's do it. Get to 5 lands, hopefully 6 next turn. Tyrannix Rex. I think we're off to the races. And I also forgot that, well, Elesh Norn turns off Topiary Stomper's enter the battlefield effect. Man. Not Beseiju, that's not too bad. I do get my land this turn, at least. And of course it is a dual land. Alrighty. Here goes nothing. Land next turn. Let's go. Tyrannix Rex. They can't do a whole lot. They don't have Fires of Invention. They're not going to be playing anything for dirt cheap. They do draw quite a few cards, though. Fortunately, they don't have Shieldred. My goodness, that's a lot. Scary. They only have to discard 1 thing, which is pretty nice. Could be a Leyline Binding, playing it for 1 white off of that Rafine's Tower. Certainly would have been nice. Getting shifting to 6 power, Huntmaster with 1, threatening Elesh Norn there. Ooh, okay, okay. Prepare yourselves. Strap in, because Ancient Imperiosaur is about to be absolutely disgustingly massive. Okay, Dinosaur for 4. Lovely. I have 5 bodies now. I like that. And I forgot to turn off the token. Never mind, never mind. We'll get there. We'll get there eventually. And hopefully we're not all dead. But yeah, if the token could have been made, I could have played Ancient Imperiosaur, tapping 5 creatures. It would have been a 16/16 trample haste. Man, that Elesh Norn is a pain in my side. Elesh Norn is a thorn. Makes me cry. Shed tears. That would have been lovely. Oh. Maybe next turn. Make him super big. Hopefully we're not dead to something. Of course, they won't Supreme Verdict anytime soon. Just hope they don't get an Agent of Treachery off of that Leyline Binding. I'm not too worried about giving me another Huntmaster. Again, I can play pretty much anything at this point. They would definitely like that Agent of Treachery. Maybe. Oh. Grabbing something else for 5. Tolsimir to fight. Taking out at least Regis or Alpha, unfortunately. Probably. Letting shifting twice. They make 2 Boja, Friend to Elves tokens. First one fights, next one comes out, they sacrifice that first one, fight with the second one for a total of 6 damage. And they're gaining 6 life as well, which is pretty sweet. Actually, 12 life. Yeah, that's pretty good. Well, we can still go Ancient Imperiosaur. Can I go Topiary Stomper plus Ancient Imperiosaur? This for 2, we got 4. Yeah, we can do that. We'd be dead next turn if I wanted to attack with it. Just get some big bodies. Hopefully we buy some time to see one Back to Nature or a Tranquil Throwback. Really anything. There's 6 things that destroy enchantments and we haven't seen one of them yet. And we're below a quarter of the way through. A little bit unfortunate. See what they do this turn. I imagine it's over because we're not going to be busting through 27 health anytime soon. Oh, I think they have a you-know-what up their sleeve. Perhaps Supreme Verdict. Got to be some sort of shenanigans. Okay. That's not too bad. Certainly is nice to get rid of Elish Norno, I must say. Maybe get that Back to Nature next turn. Oh, they finally sacrificed it. Probably getting Agent of Treachery now, I think. Coma. Well, that is going to be unwinnable at this point, sadly. Of course, Shifting Ceratops could fly right past the Serpent token and Coma itself. Having protection from blue, they can't have blocked it. I forgot I didn't bring in Tranquil Throwback. Could see Magmatic Chasm maybe doing the trick if they've got a bunch of bodies. However, I'm just going to hope for Back to Nature. Yeah, I think I'll definitely up it to 3 copies after tonight. This deck certainly isn't going anywhere. And if you guys have had trouble against it, check out Back to Nature if you haven't already. Of course, I've been using it quite some time against this deck. And man, it does the trick. Well, it's no Back to Nature. It's very explosive. I don't want to mulligan too aggressively because I only have 2 copies of it. I'd rather just keep a pretty reasonable, rampy hand. That looks nice. Thunderherd Migration. We'll see what Triome they get here. Okay. Imagine it's going to be you-know-what next turn. Hopefully drawing a Force Land next turn. I could go Huntmaster plus Topiary Stomper for a total of 4. But if they have that Leyline Binding, it's just going to be sitting there. Oh, we got it, folks. We've got Back to Nature. Oh, my goodness. Well, Topiary Stomper, at least this first one, gets us to 4 lands. Huntmaster, Topiary next turn. Huntmaster, saving 2 for Back to Nature if they played a bunch of stuff. They could go Leyline Binding right now. I don't really want to waste it on Topiary. I could destroy an enchantment, get that Topiary back, redo its enter the battlefield effect, and oh boy. Carnage Tyrant it is. Let's go. You better have Supreme Verdict. Then I just got another one, and then I sweep. Woo. I don't have a source of red though, which is quite nice. We don't have to worry quite yet about Fires of Invention. If Carnage Tyrant sticks around and they don't do Supreme Verdict, I might just continually play it safe. Always hold up at least 2 for Back to Nature. Surprise them on the turn that they do dump at least Enigmatic Incarnation. At the very least, maybe it's just Leyline Binding to get rid of Topiary Stomper at instant speed here. And then they're just going to go Enigmatic Incarnation on the following turn, or at least plan to do that. Then I just take out Leyline Binding and the Enigmatic Incarnation, which they were going to sacrifice Leyline Binding, steal something. I could see them doing something like that. Oh, okay. They don't got a whole lot of anything. And they discarded their source of red with the Savai Triumph, so that is nice indeed. Perhaps it indicates they don't have a Fires of Invention in hand. Hey, Supreme Verdict. We've got a lot of good stuff still coming up. Oh, beautiful. Absolutely. Pay that too. I'm going to still go with Carnage Tyrant. Just because I drew that extra land, I still have the 2 for Back to Nature. Just keep maintaining that too. It's not that bad. Next turn, Huntmaster plus Marauding, I'll definitely still have 2. But I always want to be able to smoke them whenever they do something not so nice. We'll get them. Maybe it's another Supreme Verdict. Well, we've got Ancient Imperiosaur. Yeah. Maybe not. Oh, I think we do. Either way, we've got Tyrannix Rex coming up, our first copy. Hopefully, Keruga. Okay. They don't draw anything. They just wanted to get a body down at this point. Let's definitely get Huntmaster. Marauding. Start pressuring them with Carnage Tyrant. They're wondering, do I take 7 or do I take 3? Maybe not a big difference. It's definitely nice seeing them forced to play Keruga. 5 for a 5/4, and that's it. They didn't even draw a single card. This feels good. Oh, I love it. Perhaps they do have a sweeper, although it took them quite some time to think about that. If they did have a sweeper in their hand, well, they would have used it the previous turn, so they wouldn't have played Keruga instead. That just seemed to be their best bet. Save themselves taking a bit of damage. Oh, Leyline Binding. Enigmatic Incarnation coming down. Perhaps. Put a bunch of stops just so I don't miss this. It is exactly lethal there, so well, they're saving themselves. Of course, if I did use Back to Nature, Marauding Raptor. What did I tell you? They're going to play Leyline Binding. They're going to play Enigmatic Incarnation. They're going to try to sacrifice it. And I think we're going to win. We don't have exactly lethal, but smoke them. We got 9, but I think we'll draw a body. Hopefully. It's not a body. Attack, and I think that's going to do it. Oh man, that's where it's at. Shifting, Regisaur, any number of things with haste. It's going to bring the pain. Oh, I love it. Well, hopefully they don't have Settle the Wreckage. Oh, they don't have Settle the Wreckage, folks. Revenge. I started off tonight losing to this deck. Then boy, did I get him good. Exactly as I said. It's not pre-recorded, I swear. I figured that was going to happen. They were waiting for the perfect moment. Leyline Binding, instant speed, enigmatic incarnation, surprise. Good stuff, good stuff. Use Back to Nature. It's pretty darn good. All right, that's my favorite match of the night. That's for sure. Hopefully I see it again, but at least I again proved the point. Back to Nature to destroy all enchantments at instant speed. Stunning. Very, very nice to see, Mark. Yes, absolutely. And it is an uncommon, so of course not hard on the wildcard budget in Arena or in paper. Of course, I think it is. Most uncommons are pretty cheap as well. You might as well slap 2 copies, at least in a sideboard. Give yourself an absolutely fantastic chance against this usually painful deck. I think I could make that work. I have a good feeling about this. Double Marauding Raptor, as always. You have one out, you play a second one. Potentially, that can lead to a very explosive Galta. This would sit at 4 plus 1 reduction, a total of 5. This is 3. You're sitting at 8 reduction just by playing this second Marauding. Not quite enough to get Galta, but this could get interesting. Golgari Sacrifice, potentially. Aristocrats. Karn Silex is coming up from the sideboard there. Huh? Interesting. Golgari Midrange, maybe. Hopefully seeing Shifting, Topiary Stomper, Thunderherd Migration, just about anything. We're seeing some of the big, scary stuff so far. Ooh, that's too bad. I mean, we've drawn out 2 of the 4 fatal pushes. Glissa Sunslayer. Now that is going to be painful. Certainly a little bit painful seeing 2 Carnages and, well, this hand. Yes, Golgari Midrange it is. Let's see that Karn Silex. Well, I'll go with Stomping Ground. Hopefully getting at least a 6th land next turn for Carnage Tart. Questing Beast is not going to do it. Yeah. You have a lot of big scary dinos. There is, of course, the risk that you'll see a bunch. But it's a risk I'm willing to take. I do like Karn Silex, I must say. Staring down Glissa. If she deals combat damage to us. Oh, she can't destroy an artifact. I thought it was destroy target artifact or enchantment. Okay. Karn Silex definitely is feeling pretty enticing. I think we can decimate a lot of their stuff. If I name at least 3, we take out Glissa, Chaville, a bunch of other things. Lots of Death Touch, though. That is certainly pretty painful. Tyvar Stand I could see being pretty fantastic. Possibly Magmatic Chasm if we get into a staring contest. But the fatal pushes, of course, were quite painful on Huntmaster. I'll trim the 2 Shadow Spears at least. Yeah, I'll keep it like that. I was thinking of trimming Ancient Imperiosaur, bringing in maybe Tyvar Stand instead. Keep the early creatures alive, and oftentimes if they stay alive even just one turn, that buys enough time to be able to barf something big afterwards. However, we won't be doing a whole lot of barfing with this hand. Maybe if it was 3 or... That is certainly a fair bit worse. Oh, okay, we got a keeper. Still pretty rough, unfortunately. Send the two costliest things to the bottom and hopefully draw a source of red for Marauding. Or just another land for Karn Silex or Topiary Stomper. Topiary Stomper at this point. Ooh, they see the pain. That might happen. Probably get rid of Karn Silex, I think. Yeah, that's going to be devastating for Dome. We got to get a land at some point here. One of these days. Ooh. Ah, wait. Another turn or two, but it certainly is going downhill. You should expect to see a third land by this point. How many cards we've gone down. Yeah, that tends to seal the deal. Castle Garenberg is not going to get us there. Not fast enough, that's for sure. Maybe if it was the previous turn, perhaps. Topiary Stomper couldn't have blocked. Would have been hit for 7. Plus would have taken 2. I actually would have also been hit by Lair of the Hydra, potentially. 10s, yeah. Well, it was quick. Sometimes doesn't come together. There will be times like that. But it's still lovely, lovely stuff overall. Gruul Vehicles and 5 color Fires of Invention, 2 of the top decks. It's been a fantastic night. Where's that Azorius Control, though? Scare him away. Super scare him away. What's that Ancient Imperiosaur? But again, Game 2, trim Ancient Imperiosaur because it can be countered. Certainly that's going to happen. Yep, keep. Don't even need to think about it. Instantly seeing the 2 lands, Shadow Spear, this Topiary Stomper. Huh. Interesting. Well, they conceded pretty darn fast. Maybe they mulliganed a bunch. It appears like it could be probably Azorius Control. They do have Keruga the Orphan Guard, and that's often where it's used in. They don't have any other creatures, so Keruga can be a companion. Ivars. Ancient Imperiosaur. Like I was saying. Yeah, that's probably about it. Maybe could have cut Shadow Spear and brought in Tranquil Frill back. Perhaps to exile Portable Hole or, well, destroy Portable Hole. Shark Typhoon would be nice. Celestia Dinos. It could be good. Could be good for sure. Yeah. I definitely like the cost reduction, of course, with Marauding Raptor. I should tweak that, though. Let me write that down, Mark. 1 second. Definitely mulligan. Ooh. I think with Celestia Dinos, I'd still probably just go with Naya. Use Secluded Courtyard. Actually, I'm going to keep Carnage Turned. Use Secluded Courtyard and Unclaimed Territory, naming a Dino so you can tap them for mana of any color for it, just to help with consistency. And we've got Esper. Well, they may have Fatal Push. I suspect Fatal Push. We'll play it safe because I think that's going to happen. And we do have Castle Garenbeek, so we will get to Carnage Tarrant with all the lands that I'm looking at right here. We've got 5 in total, which means we've got 6 green. Esper Legends. That is what it is, I think. However, Huntmaster for 2 will reveal Marauding Raptor again with the second Thunderherd migration. Hopefully Huntmaster is sticking around next turn so we can give Carnage Tarrant haste, but at the very least, we'll get there. But yeah, going back to your point against, or for Celestia Dinos, I think the red with Marauding and Huntmaster just stack that cost reduction, get to Awakening Sun's Avatar a little bit sooner perhaps. I'd have to really look at it though. I'll take a peek at some point. Definitely get Carnage Tarrant down because I can give it haste with Huntmaster, then we're off to the races. Maybe tomorrow, Mark, I'll whip up something either Celestia or Naya related, focusing on Awakening Sun's Avatar. I've done it once or twice in the past. I'd have to look back, but I think the most recent time was maybe a year ago. Certainly it wouldn't be too hard splashing white Awakening Sun's Avatar. Chances are you're playing it quite a few turns. Well, quite a few has gone by. And yeah, I think that's... Next we can get Marauding plus Trainix Rex. What am I thinking? Let's do that. Be as explosive and damaging as possible. Boom, they better have something nasty. This is scary. Oh my goodness. Tends to do the trick. Huh. Yeah. Perhaps I do live Naya Awakening Sun's Avatar deck building. Actually, no, I'll whip up a list. Let's do it. Hopefully I don't forget, but tomorrow, Awakening Sun's Avatar. Either starting off with Awakening Sun's Avatar or having it in the sideboard to destroy everything that isn't a dino. Possibly Gwenna, Eyes of Gaia. Of course, she can tap for 2 whites. Maybe a Secluded Courtyard or Unclaimed Territory makes that 3rd white just to get there a little bit faster. Oh, yes, it definitely was. Pretty interesting that they conceded so early on. This feels a little bit rough. Maybe a little bit too high. I'm going to keep it, though. I got a good feeling about it. I do have 2 plays if they have a Thoughtseize or mono-white humans. Okay. Oh, and a Topiary Stomper. So it's going to be really good if we get that 3rd land. Marauding plus Topiary next turn. Hopefully no Portable Hole, but I'd be pretty surprised if that happened. Definitely not blocking. I could. Might be nice to not take 3. We're not going to do it. Oof. Topiary it is. I think I will get the mountain. There's a slim possibility that I get the 4th land. I go Marauding for 1 with the mountain, and then I have that 2nd source of red for Regisaur Alpha. That would be quite fantastic. Of course, it could be Brutal Cathar to exile Huntmaster, so hopefully that doesn't happen. Hopefully it's just Thalia or something. They're going to play Thalia's Lieutenant, putting a counter on these 3 creatures. They made colorless mana and used that mana for Mutavault itself. Of course, Mutavault is tapped, but hey, it gets a counter on it. That counter doesn't go away when it returns to not being a creature. Gotta do something quick, though. Let's see, that 4th land coming up. Okay, like I was expecting. However, we could attack with Ghalta. There would be enough reduction. Does that make sense? Perhaps. Would they kill us next turn? Definitely. I would have Marauding to block with, though. Do I want to do that? just Marauding to block with, so at least it would be 4, 3, 7, 10. Marauding to block Recruitment Officer. Mutavault would be 3, 6, 8. Yeah, you know what? I like Regis or Alpha. The 2 bodies, play it safe. I'll just attack with Marauding Raptor this turn. Just to potentially get that nice benefit, 6 damage if Thalia's Lieutenant wanted to block. That's fine by me. We wouldn't lose Marauding, but again, I don't want that temporary +4/+0 to go to waste. I think we're safe. Even if there's a Brutal Cathar to exile Regis or Alpha. Oh, there it is. Regis or Alpha going down. We still have some lovely bodies. The token can trade with any of their things if they wanted to attack us. Well, certainly I don't expect the Copper Code Vanguard to attack. That's going to be public enemy number 1. We want to take all that. We can hit him for 15 trample damage and a 4/3. They'd have to block with a lot. Yeah. I feel like trading with it. Okay, that's pretty good. The question becomes, could they kill us if I attack with Galta? Definitely. Shadow Spear, of course, that would be lovely stuff. Slapping it on Galta, gaining a ton of life, and that would do the trick as well. I don't think we're quite dead. We're definitely dead. Okie dokie. Yeah. That's not happening. Alright, Karn Silex, that's where it's at. The thing I was considering against mono white humans, take out basically everything they have. Doesn't matter how much counters they have on it. That's their ticket. Again, the Shadow Spear would be nice. Could be nice to deter a lot of their aggression. Maybe it gets some creature big enough. Of course, the Topiary Stomper potentially being a nice 5/5 trample in Vigilance and Lifelink is pretty sweet. Ancient Imperiosaur, well, maybe 2 of those. Possibly that Magmatic Chasm, come to think of it. Nah, I'll leave it at Karn Silex. That is going to be devastating. Lots of cheap stuff. Magmatic Chasm more for Mono Green Devotion with all their big creatures. We just get into that staring contest and then boom. Magmatic Chasm they can't block and we kill them. Possibly with this hand here. Of course, 3 lands, 2 Maraudings, Topiary Stomper getting us the 4th land for Regis or Alpha. Very, very nice. And sometimes Marauding just being a 2/3 could potentially scare away some of their early aggression. Lots of little creatures, maybe if they only have 2/3s, something like that, they might not bother attacking, so might buy us some time. Some much needed time. Sometimes. It's often what you need. A Mutavault to start. Very, very interesting indeed. Not a source of white. Huh. What are they thinking? Well, that's good for us. It's not a turn 1 human for 1 white. Portable Hull. Ossification. Yeah, that's not too bad. Interesting, though. Definitely this Topiary Stomper. Power up Marauding Raptor, make it a 6/3. I expect they'll have perhaps some sort of interaction coming up next turn. They'll do something to one of the Maraudings. Again, hitting them for 6 is a pretty lovely thing. It's kind of like we played a 6/3 for 2. That reduces all your creatures by 1. Whew. value. Either ossification or brutal Cassar. If not, I can just go Dinosaur Alpha, supercharge both Maraudings to 6/3s. I do lose Dinosaur and the token, but hitting him for 12, or threatening to hit him for 12, and almost taking him out in one hit is pretty good. Luminarch Aspirant gets pretty big. Hopefully they don't have Brave the Elements for 1 white. That would not be fun. But a Carnage Torrent, now that is fun. Of course, it lives to the both pings. I get to pressure him heavily with both Marauding Raptors. Perhaps Luminarch Aspirant is going to be trading with one. Thalia's Lieutenant can't take out the other one. It only has 2 power, so we may just be losing 1 Marauding here to that Brave the Elements. 3 recorded. There you go. This is good. I get the nice pressure. If one is going to die, well, I break the Marauding Raptor lock. Either they get super big and it draws out the first of 4 Brave the Elements, or one of them dies and now Dinosaur Alpha is going to live next turn. That is nice. Actually, I kind of forget when I started. I think it was 9:45. Sword of Fortune Frontier is not going to be doing a whole lot for him. We're going to hit him for a lot of damage coming up. Don't attack. Huh. They almost goofed up. Karn Silex, though. Of course, it is tempting to play it, but definitely go with Dinosaur Alpha and drive that win home. Probably one of those things wants to block, but everything that's attacking them would trade with it. Get them. Okay. Well, I saw that Sword of Fortune Frontier. Imagine they only have a couple copies, likely not the whole playset. Certainly very helpful against Mono Green Devotion for them, possibly. Gruul Vehicles, of course. Kind of thinking that Tranquil Frillback. Maybe. You know what? I'll keep it as is. I don't think... There's a pretty good chance we won't see that Sword of Fortune Frontier. Might just be a one-of out of the sideboard. That, though, I can work with that. Turn 1 Shadow Spear, turn 2 Thunderherd, turn 3 Karn Silex. Goodbye, Lix. Hopefully we're still alive, of course. The Shadow Spear giving life link to something. If we got that something, well, it would have been nice. Of course, it just could be a fantastic thing to trim a lot in the top, have some cheaper dinos. That Tranquil Throwback, of course, as a body to just get it down. Of course, they could have Brave the Elements. If I did have some sort of sweeper, we're basically dead next turn. Let me think. 7, 9. That is going to be it. It's all but guaranteed they have a human. Coming down, Thalia's Lieutenant, getting a counter on it for exactly 10 damage. It's got to be it. I'd be surprised if they didn't play a human. Interesting. They didn't have a human. Huh. Strange. Well, all right. Okay. I'll just pay 2. That's odd. I never would have guessed. I was certain that the 3 cards they had in their hand were something. Of course, getting Carnage Tyrant down next turn, I mean... Oh, we just die. We're at 1. What am I thinking? We can't block. Yeah. We saw Sword of Forge and Frontier. If they didn't have that, I think we might have had a slim chance with Carnage Tyrant. Maybe slapping on a Shadow Spear down the line, gaining a bunch of life. But they got us low enough that we couldn't quite get the job done. Yeah. At least I got a pop Karn Silex, I must say. That felt pretty good. Brave the Elements doesn't save them because Karn Silex is colorless. Can't name colorless. Just have to sit back and watch all your little creatures get smoked. Boom. Yeah, definitely too slow there. Oh, much better. There isn't a source of red, unfortunately, but I think that could hopefully work out. We're staring down Azorius Control, and this is... I probably would have mulliganed at least once more, just to hopefully see that source of red. My goodness. I think there is a sensor. Might as well dodge it. I really want Topiary Stomper to land to get that source of red. I hope. Phew, phew. I think there was a sensor in the ranks. And I'm at Carnage Tyrant range now. Memory Deluge. Huh. Well, they gotta be scared. Getting a little bit scared. Shadow Spear. Now that is nice. I don't have 2 sources of red. If I did have 2 sources of red, I'd definitely try Huntmaster and Marauding. Carnage Tyrant certainly is going to draw out a sweeper next turn if they have it. I think they will. Could be for a while if they play their 6th land or just the good old Supreme Verdict. They're digging. Digging hard. Maybe they don't have Wandering Emperor. Perhaps they would have played that Made a Samurai, or, well, they wouldn't have made a Samurai. They would have swept and then made a Samurai coming up. That'd be a sweeper. With 2 Memory Deluges. That's, hey, farewell, as I said. They'll get to 6, but we will get Regis or Alpha instead. Slap Shadow Spear on somebody. Of course, they're tapped out, so we get to have at least one go with that. Hopefully Tyrannix, Ancient Imperiosaur, one of those things. Ooh. You know what? We're going to try it. The first Huntmaster. Maybe it draws out a counterspell. We get to go with Topiary Stomper. Shadow Spear would be lovely as well. Keep dodging that sensor, potentially. Do they have the Wandering Emperor? I think they have the Wandering Emperor. Well, let's draw it out at some point. We won't draw out to settle the wreckage, but I want to get the Wandering Emperor out. Get her onto the battlefield. Get that out of the way. Maybe they would have flashed it in. Maybe they would have just gone with Memory Deluge for 7. They did have 7 at the moment, so I think that could have also been a possibility. And we'll see if this draws out the sensor, finally. Or absorb. That's also pretty good. Pretty good. Still very interesting to see 3 Marauding is then only a source of red. Of course, I only have 1 mountain, but I would have expected a Stomping Ground or something like that by now. Taking out Wandering Emperor next turn would be good. Oh, where's Tyrannix Rex when you need him? Goodness. Haven't seen a single yet. We're due for T-Rex or Shifting Ceratops anytime now. And another source of red. Well, at least they didn't play the Shark Typhoon. Put a counter on that Shark, a nice 4/4 flying first strike. It's really going to start chipping away. We got to do something quick, although they have a lot of stuff in hand. They got a lot of mana. They got a Teferi. It may be all over at this point. Well, we'll wait and see. We'll wait and see. Marauding next turn for 1. Tyrannix for 6. Well, technically 5. Might be able to make something happen. Ooh, I don't think so. I'll try at least one more turn here, but if we draw another land coming up, I think that's gonna seal our fate. Fortunately, they don't have Hall of the Storm Giants. It would also be pretty bad dealing with a 7/7 on the ground, of course, but that Shark token alone probably is gonna do us in. Maybe. No. One more turn. One more turn. We'll see. I mean, I am at 7, or at least 7 with Topiary Stomper. Try and take out the Wandering Emperor. That'd be alright. Don't have to worry about more counters going on that Shark token. Possibly could have taken out Teferi. Maybe. At least I have a bunch of basics. The last one. So if I draw a Topiary Stomper, it's not doing much of anything. It will be a 4/4 Vigilance, which is nice. Thunderherd Migrations are dead now at the moment, sadly. Perhaps I have a Sweeper. Maybe. I don't think so. Just the good old Shark Typhoon. Okay, that's definitely it. But still, I'm just curious to see if I draw another land coming up here. Shifting Ceratops? I mean, technically, I can get something done with it, but they'll have too many Sharks. Hit us for 4, play some other spells. I don't think it's going to work out. You know what? Let's just try it. Marauding for 1, shifting for 2. It's going to have lots of lovely, lovely haste. Maybe this draws out another counterspell, perhaps. I think so. Oh. They're saving the counterspell for a thing they can't counter, which is pretty sweet. Give that lovely haste. Attack with this Marauding, hope for the best. A last ditch effort. A last hurrah. What's going to happen? Oof. Wandering Emperor, unfortunately to exile shifting. Definitely going to do it. Tyvar Stand coming in strong. Trimming that Ancient Imperiosaur. Trim the Shadow Spear. Maybe keep 2 Ancient Imperiosaurs. Yeah, let's do that. I'm definitely playing Ancient Imperiosaur for super cheap. Just leaving 1 green up for Tyvar Stand that is also in hand to keep it safe. Do a bunch of damage. Not going to do a whole lot of damage with this hand though. Maybe if it was 2 lands, I'd keep it and a source of red. There it is. think I'll still trim Carnage Tyrant. There's lots of big scary dinos, and maybe we'll have a slim window for Regis or Alpha. Got at least 3, technically 4 lands with Topiary Stomper here. And I am going first, so I could safely resolve the Huntmaster. They will only have 1 land. We'll see what we draw, if it changes up the plan. Okay, that does. Thunderheart Migration, I have the 3rd land in hand. I'll be at 4 again on turn 3, and hopefully it's something that enters tapped, and I can go Huntmaster, Topiary, play the Regis or Alpha quite nicely. There it is. It has been answered. Love it. Oh, it's not often they have a blue untapped. They can't go a Censor or their counter spell, so we nicely have Regis or Alpha. No matter what happens, we can play Ancient Imperiosaur, Tyrannix Rex. Doesn't matter. It's going to be pretty darn painful. Of course, they could have Censor here. I have 5. Going to take the ping and just potentially protect against that. Regisaur happened basically instantly, so I think they don't have anything that could respond to it. Okay, they have Wandering Emperor. I think that's what they're waiting for. Of course, it could be Settle the Wreckage. Let's see what happens. I'm going to take that chance. I did get a bunch of basic lands. It's not the end of the world. I mean, it's pretty sweet. We increase the chance heavily that I get a big scary dino. Thinned the deck a lot. And we got to 7 for Topiary Stomper, which is also nice-ish. It could work out. I did draw out to Settle the Wreckage. You know what? I say just Topiary Stomper. If they have Wandering Emperor, of course she can't exile Topiary, not taps. Start chipping away. Carnage Tyrant or T-Rex at any point here. We're past a quarter of the way through. So we should be seeing one of those, or Ancient Imperiosaur, which Huntmaster could give haste. Yeah, I like that. Lots of bodies. Regal Carousel is going to be a little bit problematic. The darn lifelink. Oof, another shifting Ceratops. We can make that work. Everything trades with everything quite nicely. We could take out 2 cats here, depending how they block, so I think that's definitely what I'm going to do. I don't think the Regal Carousel itself is going to block anybody, so yeah, that's pretty nice to gain 4. We still do a decent chunk of damage, though. Gotta be as aggressive as possible. Just hope they don't have another one. Boy. Oh, there's the Ancient Imperiosaur. Now the question becomes, do they have a counter spell? Maybe they do. Of course, that's going to draw it out big time. They still would have 4 left over if it was, whatchamacallit. The one for 2 white and a blue. I'm going to tap Shifting Ceratops, I think. I'm not going to tap Shifting Ceratops. Attack with everything, see what happens. Well, they definitely don't have a counter spell, that's for sure. There it is. They can pay the Ward 2 cost for Ancient Imperiosaur, which I think they definitely will do. So I won't be able to do a whole lot more. Regal Carousel has to block if they want to live. We're getting them. We're getting them. Oh, Teferi is not going to do the trick. They will have 4 when they untap 2 lands here, but that's only at the end of their turn. So if they have a sweeper, at the very least, they're not going to be using it. We could see a Tyvar stand, which I imagine would definitely lock things up. Or it could be another Settle the Wreckage, perhaps. Oh, we don't need more lands. Goodness. That is just terrible. Terrible luck. A third of the way through the deck and not one Carnage Tyrant or T-Rex. You never quite know how it's going to go. What might they do? I say attack them with everything. Let's go for it. Huh? That's something for shifting. March of Otherworldly Light. Okay, they had to tap out completely for that. We took out the Samurai, took them down to 3 in range of the token from Regis or Alpha, killing them. That was my hope, at least with this. No more lands. Let's go. Cross your fingers. Cross your claws. Memory Deluge, their backs against the wall. They have nothing in their hand. They're going to be untapping 2. So they will have 3. They got to find it. It's now or never. Oh boy, what's it going to be? I think if they don't hit it here, if they don't have anything impactful, maybe that's going to be it. Of course, they could grab another land, play it. Then when they untap 2, they might have 4 for another Wandering Emperor. Hopefully that's not the case. Oh, nuts. Down to 1. Oh, we got him. Whew. Crazy. Craziness. My oh my. Well, I'll keep it the same. I certainly can't get a whole lot unluckier than that. Going through a third of the deck. Not seeing a Tyrannix Rex. Nuts. Nuts. Ooh. Well, speaking of Tyrannix Rex, of course this is not nearly as explosive as I would hope for. I think it still could be pretty good. A Shifting Ceratops, Topiary Stomper, Thunderherd Migration could be in the mix in the first few cards. It could be a Marauding Raptor, Regis or Alpha, Castle Garenbig, of course, with Huntmaster plus Castle Garenbig, and these 4 lands would get us to T-Rex. I'm going to try it. Okay. Oh, there it is, Thunderherd Migration. Hopefully. Again, whatever they play is tapped. So I can safely go with this and get ahead stably forever. Doesn't seem to be the case, though. Double Thunderherd Migration. I'm going to get them to burn their counter spell on Huntmaster. I definitely want Thunderherd to resolve. Oh, interesting. Fateful Absence, eh? It's pretty fantastic. We drew out that. I love it. Oh, I also love this. Of course, it could plop the clue. Pop the clue. But I think this is going to be nice instead. Good. Thunderherd goes off. They better start sweating buckets. They see 1 T-Rex. They don't know we have the second one and get worried. All right. Another Thunderherd it is. Nicely reveal the same T-Rex. Maybe they pay 3 for you know what. They don't. Oh, I still have 2 to sacrifice this clue. Who knew? Oh, shifting to boot. Wow. Wow, I love it. We get the first lovely T-Rex next turn. Could be Carnage Taunt. You know what? I'm going to do Carnage Taunt. Maybe draw out Supreme Verdict next turn. Save Carnage Taunt with Tyvar Stand. Get to attack with T-Rex. Oh, nuts. What am I going to do? It's kind of like I pay 1 green to deal 7 damage to them. Oh, this is gross. Gross. Absolutely. If they sweep again, they die to the second T-Rex. Oh my goodness, folks. Strap yourselves in. Oh, good game. Good game. Whoa. Whoa. Oh my goodness. Super scary ancient dinosaur. Wow. That's about as excited as you'll see me get. Still doesn't seem very excited compared to most people. But wow. Hey, what did I say? We'll probably get some Thunderherd migrations, Topiary Stompers in the mix. Of course, it was very slow, but Azorius Control goes slow. Tyrannix, let's go, Jeremy. How amazing was that? That's like picture perfect. It's almost exactly 2 hours. I'm going to leave that as the last match, but I redeemed myself. The algorithm did us a favor after not seeing a single T-Rex in the top third of the deck. Well, we certainly packed a punch right there. Boom. It was very nice. I was tempted to go T-Rex. I could have gotten a hit off. We would have drawn Supreme Verdict, but I had that extra one, and Tyvar's Stand did it once again. I haven't always used it, but I still think that's the ticket. If the big scary dinos aren't enough to get the job done, you just save Carnage Taunt. Of course, it doesn't have haste, so you may not get any hit off with it. Hopefully you have Huntmaster to give it haste, or Regis or Alpha, but on the off chance they sweep, and as you saw there, it draws it out. Boom. Save them. Oh, that's where it's at. My oh my, that is a fantastic way to cap off the night. Doesn't get much better than that. Taking down my favorite deck to face in an absolutely explosive fashion that you probably wouldn't have expected. 4 lands, Huntmaster, and 2 T-Rexes. I'm just happy that Huntmaster landed. Huntmaster and Thunder Migration, huh? Yeah, either way, Mark, if you're still watching, I'll see if I can tweak something. Maybe get that Celestia or Naya Dinos list featuring Awakening Sun's avatar together. Actually, I'll look up, before we go here, I'll find my first, at least 2 outings with Awakening Sun's avatar. Pretty sure it was 2. It might have been a year and a half ago, which is crazy. Of course, chances are, if it's something dino related, I've tried it at least a few times before. Let me see. Going to take a lot of scrolling, that's for sure. I do remember the thumbnail art was pretty fantastic. It was like the Awakening Sun's avatar was going through this sort of old castle. Kind of blended it nicely as it was poking its head through the arch. Oh, there it is. Pretty sure. Let me just double check with the list. Yes, it is. Okay, prepare yourselves from, when was this? May 7th. What the heck? It's almost exactly a year. I did not even plan that. Okay, well, I have to do it now. It's May 6th today. May 7th, 1 year tomorrow. 1 year ago, tomorrow. I played Nye Dinos, so I'll post that link. Boom. There it is, but that, yeah, I gotta do it. A year ago tomorrow. Awakening Sun's Avatar. Kind of brought the pain, actually. I should look at the chapters, if I added chapters. No, I didn't. Well, either way, take a browse, peruse that, Outing with Awakening Sun's Avatar, and I don't know, maybe I just use that same thumbnail. It is pretty fantastic. Fantastic. Lovely. I can't say fantastic enough. Alright, hopefully you guys have a good night, morning, evening, afternoon. Subscribe if you haven't already and you like what happens here. A fantastic live experience. Take a bite out of that like button, and I'll see you next time. Peace.